There is no way.
What are you guys going to do with these questions we're asking?
Well, I guess we'll
Go in that trash can and go up the
trash
floor.
can.
No, I'm serious.
What
Can
we're
I ask a question? Did you not just say a while back that the comment period on the EPA app will run the end of January?
By the regulations, yes. There's a 60.
This January.
Correct. By the regulations, there's a 60-day public comment period. However, from working at the EPA, knowing how they work, if public people commented, through summer, they're not going to close their doors to accepting comments. It's just the regulatory comment period is a 60-day comment. That's in the regulations.
You're not even done with the application, with the details. They're gonna, boy, it sounds like Congress. They're gonna fluff this in after the comment period is over. Is that? I don't understand how the comment period could be ending before you've got the details in your application to EPA. How is that? Am I mishearing what you're saying?
We all are.
No, and for the EPA application, there's always a copy of it in the Metropolis Public Library.
I don't live in Metropolis. But the point is simply this. How can you end a comment period before you've got the application written? We don't know what you're going to put in it after the comment period is gone.
We've been through that.
Am I making any sense, or am I just not seeing it?
A whole lot of it. You're wanting approval for this, you don't even have a mixture for this yet? You don't know what you're gonna mix in?
well, we know the criteria we're going to have stabilized to before we'll have a design that would be we can construct. We know the strength it has to be. We know it has to meet what criteria we have to be able to meet. What we haven't found out yet is what do we need to add in terms of percent cement or if we need some other additive.
So why the rush? Why don't you have all those details? I mean, now I'm getting loud. Why, and I'm not yelling at you, pardon me.
Understand.
Why aren't all the details worked out before the application process goes in? I want to say this. I don't trust Honeywell. Now, I'll tell you why. I know they had a nuclear release 3 months ago and didn't report it to the NRC. I know that in September they had to shut them down a little bit because suddenly the urine test started showing uranium in some of the employees. I know that they had an HF release and they pumped 62,000 gallons of water in the air to shut that stuff down, and it didn't run in the parking lot, it went somewhere. Now, I live close. Hydrofluoric acid is terrible stuff. We live here. You guys are from Springfield and up north, and I know it's a job. Honeywell ought to be here. They ought to.
Yes.
But they're not, because the way to diffuse it is not to be there. The end result is this. If you want to run and make everybody here feel better and be online with what you want to do, they've got to do 2 or 3 things. One, answer the questions straight up. And you're doing the best you can. I know you are. All of you are professionals, and you're doing what you've got to do. But number 2, finish the permit application. Let everybody look at it. Let everybody mull it over and come to the realization, yes, this is safe for my children and my family. And if they can't come to that realization, then let's reevaluate it and see what it is. Explore the alternatives about cost. It's not just about cost. Sometimes the cheapest way is the best way. But put it all out there and let everybody know all the facts and then make up their mind. That's all they want. That's all I want. You guys, you've got a job to do and you're trying to do the best you can with the situation, and you just happen to be in a bad spot right now. But having said all that, these are all valid questions. There is no one, absolutely no one on the face of this earth that knows more about the operation and the dangers at that plant than those people right there. Nobody. Management has, they want to maximize profits. And sometimes, you know, when we talk about cradle to death, right, you know what happens? They get a slick lawyer. And what's the lawyer do? He declares bankruptcy for the corporation, transfers the assets, moves them out. That company no longer exists. Who suffers? The American taxpayer. We pick up the tab to fix because somebody wanted to make money. There's no faith in Honeywell acting in their best interest. They lost that when they didn't report the release to the NRC. They lost that when they got cited by the NRC for lying to the news media. They lost that when that water didn't run in the parking lot like it should. They've got some public relations problems that they need to mend if they're going to be a partner with the community here. That's all there is to it. Yeah. And they should, and I know what the permit application is like with EPA because the coal mines go through the same thing. They should have that in place almost in its entirety with the mix that you all are going to pour on that stuff. That sounds feasible to me. You're taking a semi-solid, making it a solid, and then it's not going to dilute. Well, that sounds fair. That sounds fair. But I'm not a biologist or a geologist or a chemist. Let them look at it. Let the labs look at it. And the gentleman that was talking about us not exporting our waste to somewhere else, or maybe, just maybe, they know something in other places. Why are we shipping all this waste to Yucca Mountain if we can take care of it encapsulating it in the tropics? Now that's what I've got to say.
I just want to add a quick clarification. Tell me if I wander off the path into the ditch. But you know, you're asking a question about the treatability test.
Right.
I think a better way to classify what Matt is saying is treatability tests were done on the material. The portion that needs to be done is to optimize that, come up with the precise numbers. We wouldn't have started down the pathway if there wasn't some treatability data to basically say there's value in going down this pathway.
Why not do that and then put that in the application so it's there? So anybody, any chemist can go, oh, let's try that and see if it works. I mean, full disclosure is the solution here. Because when there isn't, I mean, you're not done with something and you're rushing it and they're going, oh, they said by 2020 this would be taken care of. We're in 2011 and the permit application comment time ends in 2 weeks.
Yeah. 60
Boy,
days.
you know, what's going on? I mean, it makes, you know, I'm not totally trustworthy of the government these days.
Really?
But I trust you guys. You guys got families. You're not going to do something that's going to kill all of us. I know that.
Right, and you know, so what we've done is we've taken a look at the stabilization. We figured out, okay, in order to make this design stable, and we talked about the seismic events before, in order to make it stable against the seismic event to show you're absolutely not going to have a problem, you need to achieve a certain strength in this material.
See, that went back to the contingency thing I asked you about.
Well, it didn't.
That's
We
one
know
of the
that if we-
contingencies that you consider. You should have told us that.
Sure, we looked at these things. This is all, and this is again all in the application. And I think we've done a fairly open job of trying to present all this information in the application. And we'll look at it to see the logic behind all this.
Well, that gentleman said we couldn't get that.
Well, I understand that, but you know, it's I don't know how to answer that question, but you know, it is. We certainly considered all this. We know what strength we need to achieve to make sure this is going to be stable. And one of the contingencies in our plan is we are going to come up with a mix that is going to meet this criteria. And so we don't have the mix designed fully right now. Part of the reason for that is when it comes time to actually construct this, you know, the contractor may have a better idea. But well, here's what you can use to do it from our experience on those sites. Here's a mix we'd like to try. You see,
What other
other sites where cement is used to stabilize.
We're not
slightly
an experiment here.
No.
We are not an experiment here.
Experiment somewhere else.
We
No,
live here.
It's not an experiment. What I'm
Yes,
saying
it
is,
is.
it is very common to stabilize, well, it's very common to stabilize material that's very wet, like this, a sludge or a sediment, with cement and make it into a solidified mass. It's done all the time.
Don't have a problem.
Yeah, don't have these chemicals in it.
Don't have chemicals in there.
I'm sorry, what's that?
Don't have, I can understand you can take water and make it hard.
Okay.
Mix it with mud. But what about these muds that's out there?
And that's, we're gonna need to be able to come up with a mixed design, final design that's implemented by the constructor. And they may have other options that they'd like us to pursue. And whatever they want to look at, we would have to test to make sure it's gonna meet the stabilization. So we don't have a mix presented in there like it's gonna have 6.5% of a certain type of cement. We haven't decided that yet. But we're gonna have we have a requirement in our application that we're gonna commit. So when it comes time to construct that, it's gonna meet that criteria. And so I understand where it seems like, well, the question might be, why don't we have the mixed design? There's reasons why we don't have a detailed final mixed design. I mean, it's because there might be a better.
Formulate how long it lasts.
What's that?
How you gonna formulate how long it lasts?
Well, I don't have the details on it. There's tests that you can run, lab tests that you can run that evaluates that, to evaluate how much integrity and how durable a mixture is going to be. How long
Sir, did they take you around the good part of the plant? 'Cause that's what they do in NRC time. They got a path where we go in and they walk you around. Because I work in a slurry plant, and they redone all the concrete, and it broke up the next week, and they spent a lot of money on it. You must then walk around the right part of the plant. Because concrete is messed up. HF eats it up. So I can't see how you're gonna have a solution to that unless you get it together and you keep it for years. Before I feel comfortable about what you're doing to do. Because I work out there. I see that HF eat that concrete. Daily. They run fork trucks. I ain't seen concrete yet in that plant that's gonna hold up. I don't care what solution you put in.
Well, I guess what I would say is, when we stabilize this material, once it's stabilized, it's going to be covered with 4+ feet of soil. It's going to have low
So
permeability.
you don't know if it's gonna even crack up, if you're gonna be growing lilies and flowers.
They probably won't
You're
live.
saying, but what we are going to have is we're going to have samples of material we're going to stabilize. And we're going to be able to test those and show how it's going to last, over the testing period.
I was young walking around in that plant, and they did tours for kids. And at the end, they had this fish tank, put water in it to show everybody how the water was just, the fish, but every day, they changed the fish because it died. So I can't see how you're doing none of that. My dad worked out there for 30 years. I've been out there for 16. I'm out there. I ain't chemical free. Nobody in here chemical free. So what you feeding us right now, we can't buy. And we live here. I know y'all contractors. I work with, I don't know, your engineers.
I'm not.
No. I work with them every day, and they engineer something, but they don't take into account, and don't get me wrong, I mean, say this, because my daughter might be an engineer. They don't use common sense. Because when they put it together, they put it together to make it work, but they don't put it together to fix it. That's about what you said, no contingency plan. Because you ain't ready to fix it. I don't want to see that happen, so I see what you're gonna do to fix it. Because I'm not trying to be Gulf War. I mean, Gulf War, the oil. You know why that contingency plan didn't fix? It worked because you said it wasn't the right one. It didn't work because they just put something together so it can look like they can do it to get it together. Fix this here, because I don't want my grandkids dying either. So before you do this, prove to me some solution that ain't gonna crack up that concrete. I don't care how much dirt you put on it. I don't care what you grow on it. I've been sitting there watching that. That HF eat up that concrete. Watch it every day. They spent lots of money digging the ditches in the Florida plant. We got where the stuff goes in. It ate concrete up. Well, we had to dig it out and have them redo it. It ate it up in a week. So you're gonna tell me you're gonna find something that's gonna make it not good? Hard for me to believe. I watched it eat it up 16 years. So how you gonna do